welcome back to another video. Today I wanted to reflect on my fantastic day at Silverstone a couple of weeks ago with W2R Want to Race and the M8 competition that I'm in right now. Hopefully you've seen my main video on that day, that brilliant day, probably one of my favourite days in my life, in fact. Such a well run event. I still can't get my head around how fantastic it was, and the opportunity to take out the BMW UK M8 competition on track again. A car that really does puzzle a lot of people when I talk about taking it out on track, and only the people that have been to either Bedford at the beginning of the year or Silverstone a couple of weeks ago that actually saw the car out on circuit, or were lucky enough to jump in and have a passenger ride, only those people actually understand my reasoning behind getting this 1900 kilo car out on circuit. It's so capable, it just does things that it just shouldn't do. And yes, it will only last 3 laps, 3 warm or hot laps before the tyres and the brakes just cool enough. Mostly the tyres, in fact, but that's nothing against the fantastic Michelin Pilot Sport 4S tyres that are on this car. It's just that what do you expect them to do with this much weight, especially when you've got 1 or 2 passengers on board. As always, I want to say a massive shout out and thanks to Adrian Flux Car Insurance, who look after me on the road in my M2 competition and look after me on track. So please make sure you check out the link below and hit them up for your next quote on your car, whether you're going to insure it for normal, social, domestic and pleasure, or if you're going on a track day. Massive thanks once again to BMW UK for trusting me with this £142,000 car. And of course the biggest thanks goes to W2R Track Days. Just check out their website in the description below, and honestly, next time you go on track, try and book those guys. Today's video is actually focusing on me trying to do a reasonably fast lap in this M8 competition. It was my first time at Silverstone, and when I tried to put this lap in, it was probably really only my 14th or 15th lap ever there, so still so much to learn. And I had just had instructions by one of their race car drivers, Ben. I'll link him below as well, so I kind of thought that I knew at least the right way around the circuit, but obviously my braking points and stuff were well off what a pro driver would be. But the car was pretty much on the limit through most of the turns, except I had to let a Lamborghini GT3 car come past. It was a bright green monster that was just lapping at a ridiculous pace all day. But you'll see that I had to actually lift down this small straight just to let the car through, because although it's a GT3 car with whatever horsepower and whatever weight and whatever value, it actually was a little bit slower than this car in a straight line. And I know that just is ridiculous and hard to comprehend, but it really was. In fact, everything out there bar the 720Ss, which there was about 4 of, those things were quicker than this in a straight line, but everything else really wasn't. And it was bizarre. Obviously the GT3 cars are so much faster through the turns, but on the straights where they have to pass you, I literally had to yield each time just to let them go past. So I did lose a little bit of time to that particular car on one of the straights. I reckon probably a second and a half. So hopefully you enjoy this couple of laps out at Silverstone with me pushing. Just on the out lap now. I'm in 4-wheel drive sport, everything turned off. Just slowly bringing the tyres up to temperature. They're all at about 2 bar at the moment, which is fine. Probably want them at about 2.1, 2.2 by the end of the lap. Silverstone is epic, absolutely epic circuit. so big and so open, but very difficult to kind of judge speed, if that makes sense, just because everything is so wide. It's like when I've drag raced with Matt Watson on Carwow before, and you go down a really wide runway, you kind of lose concept of speed because everything's so open. Too hard because it unsettles the car a little bit. Big slide at 90 miles an hour and I've got a race car coming behind me, so let's try and get through this complex first. In a straight line than this car. Short shifted through there just to help the front end a little bit. Like a reasonably tidy lap. We definitely lost some time with that GT3 Lambo just because I pulled over. I thought I could stay on the throttle, but it wasn't very fair for him. He just couldn't quite get past in the straight, so had to back up a little bit, but otherwise it was quite a good lap. We got a very fast 720S coming through, so should time it quite nicely. I'll just stay over right here. There's one thing that's a lot quicker than this. It's the 720S. Those things are insane. Right, we'll peel off into the pits. So hopefully you enjoyed that lap of Silverstone, pushing to my limits, but I've only really done about 12, maybe 14 laps around here, so I'm definitely no expert, but it was fun. And yeah, it's just a shame we almost had a clear lap, just had to pull over for that GT3 car, as you do on a W2R track day, because just so many insane cars out here. So yeah, it was epic. Really cool. Hopefully you guys enjoyed those couple of laps in this insane M8 competition, and I'm sure most of you will be impressed by its capabilities for something that weighs 1.9 tons and is about 5 meters long. I certainly was, and everyone else that jumped in on the day just couldn't believe that this car that is so comfortable and is such a GT car is also so capable out on the track. Thanks a lot for watching as always. Remember to give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed this, and leave any comments and questions below. Thanks again to W2R for the best track day on the planet. Thanks to BMW UK, thanks to Adrian Flux, and thanks to Rolini for helping me out with the camera work during the day. So yeah, I'll see you guys at the next one. Thanks for watching.